Hey there, this is Joy. I play the piano for the traditional service and have been here over 20 years. One of my favorite verses is Luke 1:18. This was when the birth of Jesus Christ took place. Almost every year when I turn my calendar over to November, I start thinking about religious Christmas. You know, the story in the Bible. I like to read it afresh every time. That Matthew and Luke, the way they saw it. And almost every time I read it, I see something new or unusual, something I just know I've never seen or noticed before. I admit I kind of pick it to pieces. For instance, why did Matthew not even mention the shepherds? Or why did Luke start his Jesus birth story with Elizabeth and Mary's pregnancy stories? And just think about angels showing up out in the rural countryside and singing in the heavens to a bunch of shepherds. Whoa. And the three probably nerdy wise men, stargazers, leaving work to actually follow a star. And were there really three? Or does it just seem that way because there were three presents? Because you know, every person has to bring a present. When I was a little girl growing up in Mississippi, my two old maid spinster great aunts gave me a simple, and I do mean simple, small clay creche. I feel sure that they probably purchased it at Woolworth 5 and dime, but I loved it. I would get it out every Christmas season and arrange it just so. But as I got older, I'd arrange it differently. Almost every time I played with it, and I played with it a lot. But come Christmas morning, each person would be stationed in my preferred order. So when our two boys were small, Kip and Kevin, I would get out my Aunt Alice and my Aunt Oralee creche and arrange it just so downstairs where the den and the playroom was. I'd come down later, and those little boys would have rearranged every last one of those folks to suit themselves. I'd stop what I was doing and put it back in the correct, my order. And sure enough, before long, it was all cattywampus again. Later on, for my 40th birthday, Dub gave me an absolutely gorgeous porcelain creche, sculpted by Edward Beam, who's a famous sculptor. And it has become our family's pride and joy. We decided that every year we would put out our Beam creche piece by piece, person by person, and think and talk about that particular character in the Christmas story all that day. Each person had to say something about the chosen person. It was fun, and it was often kind of a religious, worshipful experience. As we grew older and our family dynamic changed, it became just Dub and me at home. We decided we'd take turns putting the statues out until all of them were present and accounted for. And you had to tell why you chose that particular person and the reason why he or she was the first one to get out on the mantle. We've had so much fun and arguments doing it this way. There was the year, I think it was the first year that it was just Dub and me, when he went first, and he put the baby Jesus out there. And of course I said, you can't put the baby Jesus out first. He ain't even been born yet. And Dub countered with, yeah, but his birth starts the whole dang thing, and he's the most important. Well, who can argue with that? And then last year, just last year, when I put out one of the three wise men, kings, stargazers, Dub said, you can't put him facing that way. They followed the star in the east. And that's when the fight started. We wound up out on the balcony in a big argument over which way was east. We finally settled it by facing one king east, one king west, and one king in the middle. It was our own little fun, and we changed them up almost every day. Doing it these ways has helped us remember that these are real people involved in this birth of our Jesus, the story we hold so dear. Just as in life, each one of us has our own place in the Jesus story. I encourage you to find some way to make the religious Christmas story a part of your family time and the true reason for the season, as they say. The most important thing that you do this Christmas. Merry Christmas.